right, so today we're starting on line 876-ish, where we left off in class on Wednesday. So this video will go from line 876 at Nec Romula all the way down to line 899, which is, get this, the last line of the Aeneid that we are going to be reading in Latin this year, which is crazy. So that's what this video will cover today. So let's refresh our memories as to where we are. We are in the speech by Anchises talking to Aeneas and the Sibyl about the two different Marcelli. We've got Marcellus the Elder and particularly Marcellus the Younger, who we are talking about now. So remember, Marcellus the Younger would be Augustus's nephew, his sister Octavia's son, who eventually marries Augustus's own daughter, Julia, as her first husband, before she goes off and marries Agrippa. So for refreshing a little bit from the beginning of that sentence on line 875 with Nec, it says, neither would any boy from the Trojan kind lift up the Latin ancestors in such hope, talking about Marcellus the Younger, nor would the Romula Tellus, the Romulan earth, or the Roman land, nor would it ever, so never would it, or nor would the Romulan earth ever boast itself, jactabit se, boast itself, tantum, to such an extent, ulo alumno, by any other ancestor. So nor would the Romulan earth ever boast itself to such an extent by another ancestor, or by any other ancestor. So the land itself of Rome would never be more proud of anyone other than Marcellus the Younger. All right, heu pietas, alas, devotion. Heu prisca fides, alas, the ancient faith. And the invicta dextera, the right hand, unconquered in war. In bello. Oh, alas, devotion, alas, that ancient faith, and alas, the right hand unconquered in war. We have apostrophe there. Apostrophe is talking to something that isn't there. You can't actually talk to devotion or an ancient faith, but that is what Anchises is doing with these vocatives. Non quisquam, not anyone, or if you want to make it easier, no one. Non quisquam, not anyone or no one. No one, tulicet, had brought, say, himself. No one had brought himself impune, without punishment, obvious. Hostile, and it takes a dative, so hostile to, and that's where you're getting ili armato. Ili armato is going as the direct object off of obvious. So no one had brought himself unpunished, hostile to that guy having been armed. So no one, hostile to that one having been armed, had brought himself unpunished. So if you go against Marcellus as an enemy, right, if you are hostile to him and he is armed, then you will be punished, right? No one could do it without being punished. Whether when the infantry or the foot soldiers were going against the enemy or were going into the enemies, or when one would or was digging into the armos, into the sides of a spumantis equi, of a foaming horse with spurs. Calcarios is spurs. Think like a cowboy, the little things on the back of the cowboy boots. Those are spurs. So no one is able to go against this guy having been armed without punishment, whether a foot soldier going against an enemy or one digging into the sides of a foaming horse with spurs. So a foot soldier or an infantryman, either way, if you go against Marcellus, you will be punished. All right. Heu miserande puer, alas, boy, about to be pitied. Miserande is a future passive participle, also known as a gerundive, which we translate as about to be verbed. So, alas, boy, about to be pitied. If in any way, qua is not just qua is aliqua, because after si, nisi, num, and ne, the allies take a holiday. So, if in any way you can break these black fates, or these dark fates, or these harsh fates. So, oh boy, about to be punished. If you are able to break these harsh fates in any way, tu eres Marcellus. You will be Marcellus. So here he's talking to Marcellus the Younger, and he says, if you can break your harsh fate, if you can get out of this needing to die young, then you will truly be Marcellus. You will reach your full potential and become the Marcellus that you were meant to be. Date, give. This comes from do dare. Whenever you have it as an imperative, it can mean give. It can also mean grant. So like grant that, or give me the power that. So grant that, spargam. I may scatter the lilia purpuros flores, the lilies, the purple flowers, with full hands. So grant that I may scatter lilies, purple flowers, with full hands. And accumulam, and that I may keep up, or that I may honor, at least, saltem, at least that I may honor the animam nepotis, the soul of this grandson, his donis, with these gifts. So grant that I can scatter the purple flowers, the lilies, with full hands, and that I may heap up honors with these gifts, at least for the soul of the grandson. And fungar, that I may fulfill the inani murere, this empty duty, or this empty devotion. So we have this ascending tricolon of subjunctives, spargam, accumulam, and fungar. They're all present subjunctives going off of date. Grant that. So, we have clause. What sort of clause do we have? These are indirect commands. So, grant that I may scatter the lilies. All of these are indirect commands. All right. And that is the end of Anchises' speech. And we pick back up with the narrator. Seek. Thus, Wagantur, they were wandering in the whole region everywhere. Tota regione is in the whole region. Passem is everywhere. So thus, they were wandering in the whole region everywhere. And in the wide, iris is misty. So in the wide, misty fields. And they were, lustrant, they were observing everything. Postquam. After Anchises led his son through each thing, or through quae, through which, or through these, singula, one by one. So quae is actually referring back to the progression of kings. So after Anchises led his son, Aeneas, through all of these places and through all of these people, one by one, and in Kendit, he burned up his mind, amore, with the love, famae venientis, of the reputation coming, of the coming reputation. So he burned up his mind with love of a coming reputation. Exim. Then, memorat, he recounted wars to the man, wars quae, which must be waged then, which later must be waged, or which next must be waged, or which then must be waged. Notice we've got gerenda. Gerenda is another future passive participle, or gerundive. Adding in the sunt makes it a passive periphrastic. So FPP plus a form of to be is your passive periphrastic, meaning must be verbed. So he recounted wars to the man, which later must be waged, and he taught him, docet eam, he taught him, you might want to supply an about, he taught him about the Laurentian people, or the people of Laurentis, and the city of Latinus. So he taught him about the Laurentian people and the city of Latinus, and he taught him quo modo, how he may both, flee, feraque, and bear or deal with. So we taught him how he both may flee and deal with quemque laborum, each labor. Notice we've got a tmesis there. Quo modo is actually one word. It should be put together, but they've split up that word, quo on one side, modo on the other, with quemque in the middle. That is tmesis. It means cut in Greek. All right, now we get into the gates. Here we go. Sunt geminae somniportae. There are twin gates of sleep. This is something that the Romans would have known about. It's kind of like the exit to the underworld. You can go through one of two gates to get out of the underworld, these gates of sleep. Quarum, of which, altera, one, fertur, is said to be of horn. of which one is said to be made of horn, made of bone, through which or by which faculus exitus, an easy exit, is given to true shades. The other, altera, shining, potens, perfecta, having been made of white ivory, elephanto. But the shades send false sleep to the clouds, or to the sky. So we got one gate made out of bone, which is for true shades to walk through, meaning true dreams, things that actually happen. That's through the gate of bone or of horn. The other gate, which is shining and made of ivory, that's where the shades send out false sleep to the sky. So false dreams go through this gate of ivory. Check out what type of ablative we have with cadenti elephanto, with white ivory, having been made of white ivory. This is actually an ablative of source. Your book calls it an ablative of material. Material is the same thing as source. Source, remember, is the one we usually use when talking about like if you were born from someone. So if you're made of something, same deal. All right. There, ibi. This is a big deal. There, then, Anchises prosequitur. Anchises escorts his son and the Sibyl together, Una, with these words. And he sends them forth, emitted, eos. You want to add in an eos if you like. He sends them forth from the ivory gate. That's a big deal. So Aeneas leaves from the ivory gate, the gate that we just read about, the second one, the one that the shades send forth fake sleep from. And that basically means that Aeneas won't remember any of this. We'll talk about that in a sec. So he sends them forth through the ivory gate. Ille. Ille is referring to Aeneas, not Anchises anymore. Anchises is gone, stuck down in the underworld. Aeneas has now gone through the second gate of sleep. That guy cuts a path, or cuts a road to the ship, and he sees his friends again. He revisits his friends. So he's really excited to leave the underworld. We can tell that because to cut a path is a very strong message, right? It's not just like he goes to the ship. No, he cuts a path to the ship. Makes it a lot more aggressive, really emphatic. And he revisits his friends. So, we have these two gates. Like my drawings? Excellent. We've got the gate of horn or the gate of bone. And this gate is for true dreams. Dreams that actually happen, visits to the underworld that actually happen. When Hercules leaves the underworld, for example, he goes through the gate of horn, so that you will know what happened down in the underworld. The gate of ivory is for false dreams. Either bad dreams, like literally dreams, the Romans thought came through the gate of ivory, or heroes who go down to the underworld who do not remember what happened there. They would have left the underworld through ivory. It's like waking up from a dream where they wouldn't really remember what happened anymore. So Aeneas leaves through the gate of ivory. So all of that stuff that we just saw, Aeneas' path through the underworld, where he asks the Sibyl, who are all these people on the bank of the Styx River, he won't remember that he did that. He won't remember the answer to that. And most importantly, he won't remember the lessons that Anchises told him. So he won't remember this, the processional of kings. He won't remember that there's going to be this amazing guy named Marcellus who will die young as the greatest tragedy of the Roman race. And most importantly, he won't remember the 4 pillars of Rome. Remember those? Rule with power, and set up a custom of peace, battle down the proud, and spare the conquered. Those are things that Aeneas won't remember because he left the underworld through the gate of ivory. So that's something that we will talk about a little bit more, the implications of that. But brainstorm, what do you think the implications of that are? There are a lot of ways to read into, why Aeneas leaves through that gate in particular. We'll talk about that on Monday. Please write down any particular questions that you didn't quite understand. Please do ask each other questions during class today, see if you can figure things out. If you need an immediate answer, email me. I am always accessible. All right. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.